fell off my four-wheeler. Well, it looks like I have to quit fixing boats for some time.
So I just came over to the Perry Hotel to see how V was doing since he's new with us and Matt's on vacation. So I wanted to follow up and see what we had going on for this customer that is extremely desperate for us to be able to help them. We are trying to help out another company that installed this a couple months ago, and we seem to be having problems. So V's going to take over and tell us what he's got.
So this is the unit that's having the issue. This is for the back app right here. So what we're seeing is the new ductwork, but it's all kind of loosely done. There's debris falling in the back. I'm not sure if that's what's causing it. There's also two different ducts. One's very large, one's very small, but I can't see the rest of it because of the way that it's set up. So it's throwing an E2 sensor, meaning that it's telling that the evaporator is freezing up. So what the customer said happened was that they would turn it on, it would cool for a couple hours, and then it would throw up the E2 code, and it would stop cooling and just blow hot air. So this would completely freeze up. They would turn it off, let it sit for a few hours, it would thaw out, turn it on again. A couple hours later, same problem, freezing, throwing the E2 code. Somewhere in the system, the airflow is not getting in, and now it's all closed off. I really can't get back behind the walls, can't get my hands back there to see actually what's going on. So we're here trying to figure it out.
The customer has known about this problem?
Actually, I didn't ask how far back it went. I just know that it was a new system, and
He didn't tell you when you talked to him about it on the phone. He didn't say that it's freezed up, unthawed, freezed up, unthawed.
So, no, he didn't tell me that because this is an Airbnb boat.
Yeah.
So the customer that's on here that just got on here.
Yeah.
That's what he was telling me. That was the symptoms. They would run it. It would cool. A couple hours later, throw the code.
Okay.
Completely frozen. Turn it off. Reset. Do it again. Did say it was a new system 2 months ago, so it's got to be in the ductwork. It's not getting flow, but I just really can't access where the return grill is. There's a couple of ducts, 1, 2. And the third one going down to the aft cabin, but I do not see the return duct, and that's a problem. I can't even check the pressures because this doesn't have a port. Like, this is just the high pressure and the low pressure switches. But I mean, there's not even any ports for me to access it. Can't even check the pressure. But that's why I don't think it's just the ductwork that has to get redone. Maybe it shifted somehow in those 2 months. It shifted somehow, and
the boat moves, maybe.
Right, exactly.
For sure.
Maybe it worked for the first month and a half, and then they moved the boat somehow and it shifted and just did that.
So I had made the recommendation to V, and he agreed that maybe we just tell the owner to have the renters currently leave this couch out a little bit so that the unit can get a little more airflow, so that the unit can properly or somewhat properly work. And then we'll come back and address the issue at a later time if he wants. What do you guys think? What kind of thoughts do you have for us? This is air conditioning. It's not my specialty. Where's Matt when we need him? Well, it was a day. I made it through day 1 of Matt on vacation, but what I wanted to say is that job that I went and met V at, where we were having difficulty with the air conditioner, he has guests coming again in a couple days. And I told the guy that it was best that we wait until after the holiday in case we accidentally tore or put a hole in the ductwork that needs some work. I'd hate to make whatever worse, because right now, if they leave the couch out a little bit, it gets plenty of airflow. So that was my conclusion. When Matt comes back next week, he can decide what he wants to do. But on my shift, I told the customer, I'm sorry, but we'll have to wait until my head mechanic comes back.
I pulled our C-Star Power Purge Junior to hook it up to the Boston Whaler and purge that searing system. Before I hooked up, when I was getting the hoses out and whatnot, I noticed, hard to see maybe on the video, but on the coils, since this is stored like that, every coil underneath has some gunky oil that settled down in it.
Okay.
So you can see in every coil there's a settlement of nasty gunk.
Mm.
So what happens is when we hook this up to the steering system, we're basically flushing old steering fluid in here and then back into the system. So we don't want to have nasty, bad steering fluid in our system that we use to fill new steering fluid.
Right.
So getting ready for the season, I'm taking all this box apart. I'm going to degrease inside, change all the diapers, and then see about flushing our hose and our tank. Right now you can see we're almost empty in fluid, so that's a good sign that we don't have that much nasty stuff in it. So that's not bad.
How do you flush a system out like this?
So basically turn on the pump and just empty it out.
Yeah. Okay.
So once we empty it out, we'll purge the hoses, see about cleaning that up, degreasing this whole interior, getting rid of these old diapers. Hopefully we have a clean system ready for the season.
Okay, nice, nice. How do you like to degrease it?
We'll start with some tub of towels, and if that is not enough, then we'll have to go to something a little bit stronger. We have some degreaser in one of those bottles over there, so just a matter of time and clean. Yeah, look at all that. That had some water in here too. Let's see that milky, oily residue.
So how often would you want to purge out your system?
You just want to do it whenever you're either find any leaks or anything, or if you know you had any contaminants going in there. Now, did have any contaminants going in there, we wouldn't hook up this to it. We just drain it first, and then we hook this up to it, and then you fill it back up.
Gotcha. You don't want the contaminants getting in here either.
Exactly. Before we hook this up, we always crack the bleeder valves first.
Yep.
And make sure we got decent oil before we hook this machine to it. So also on the box, we want to fix these latches because they're a little bit opened up and they don't latch very properly. You can see this milky stuff that has, that's clear sign of water intrusion mixing with oil. All right, so now to cleaning. These things are awesome. Tub of towels. Power Citrus.
Is that what gets it
Yep.
a good degreaser?
Yep. Even smells nice too.
Yeah, it does.
It smells like those cheap lollipops that they sell in for like $1 a piece. Let's give the tank a good wipe as well, since it's what sits in the bottom and gets all the spillage just from looking at it. You can see where the level is.
Yep.
So this fluid is supposed to look like that. So that's clean. That's clearly dirty. So that has been contaminated with dirty steering fluid. All the more reasons we want to clean it out.
This is just pure steering fluid?
Yeah, this is only for steering.
Gotcha.
So this system is pretty cool because it's basically one continuous loop from your helm pump to your actuator in the back. So instead of bleeding it in the back and losing oil and then you having to refill it, this basically makes it in one continuous loop, so you can just work out the air bubbles out of the system. This end has a Y splitter.
Okay.
So this goes to the bleeder valves in your ram. This screws into your filler at your helm where these two plug in. And once you have your helm hooked up and your ram hooked up, you power your pump, turn your pump on, and then you start turning the steering wheel both ways until you stop seeing bubbles.
Oh, okay.
Once you stop seeing bubbles, then you've purged all the air out and you can disconnect and you're good to go.
Okay.
And the most efficient way to empty it.
Right.
I'm gonna have a little thought process here. You see, it's kind of milky. It's not clear, so there has been some water in it. And that's just the top. All the water usually settles down, so once we get
more gunk at the bottom.
Yep. We just made a mess everywhere. That was nasty. All right, so I'm gonna use this West Marine brand one just to flush it out. There's some pretty nasty stuff came out of there.
When was the last time this was done? Do you know, Peter?
I do not.
Okay.
But I know how Matt is about not hooking this up to dirty oil, so.
For sure. Peter had a little bit of an accident after he already cleaned up his container. So we're gonna have to wipe it up a little bit.
Good thing we have a tub of towels.
That's right. Some stuff came flying out.
All right, it's all purged and clean. Just gotta fill it back up with oil and address these latches so it latches properly and it doesn't get full of water again. All right, so putting some extra absorber rags there for our personal use. Always nice to have to clean up. And she's all set and ready for when we take apart the steering and the whaler and get it remanufactured, rebuilt, and purge it back up.
Well, you might be wondering, oh, I wonder why Matt's home in the middle of the day. When I was up on vacation, I had a little bit of an accident. I fell off my four-wheeler. I broke my collarbone here and I broke a rib. So luckily no surgery required, but I am going to have to sit on the couch for a few weeks and get healed up. Yes, kids, be careful on your four-wheelers. They can be dangerous. Too much fun.
Yeah, so this is how Matt spends most of his day. He looks pretty good, doesn't he?
Yep, he's got a broken collarbone and it's just a matter of sitting still so it can mend because it wants to flop around in there. It's a matter of just sitting still and healing, which I don't sit still really well. I get ants in my pants.
In your rib too.
Yeah, my ribs are feeling better.
It's just slow.
Yeah, slow. The collarbone doesn't hurt a lot, but the ribs initially, the ribs were terrible. I'm happy that my ribs have healed up to the extent they have because when it first happened, boy, the next day, the ribs were agony. Yeah, they're feeling much better. Got a package sent to us and it says, we'll fix that. So I'm guessing this is from a YouTube viewer. Anyways, let's see if I can manage to get this thing open. We're getting there.
One-handed.
Yep, one-handed. Nothing else in the box that I see. I think there's one inside.
Okay.
Let's see what this is.
Let's see.
Oh, wow. Just something for your shop.
Super cool.
We'll fix that. Look at that. I wonder what his story is. His name is Drew. Thank you so much. And what's the backstory on this? Did you make this? He's from Valencia, California. And Drew, if you're watching, if you could send us your shirt size, we would like to send you a shirt. Yeah, it's very cool. I don't know. It's some kind of epoxy, I would guess, that they poured and put some kind of design on it. So yeah, we'll definitely take this to the shop and hang it up on the wall. Thank you so much. Very cool. Appreciate that. And as always, thanks for watching and thanks for all your comments. They really make my day sometimes, especially with me being couch locked right now. Appreciate it.